Brilliance Audio.
A Little Bird by Wendy James. Performed by Tamala, Shelton and Sandy Greenwood. For a bird of the air shall carry the voice, and that which hath wings shall tell the matter. Ecclesiastes 10:20. Part 1. Prologue. Arthurville, 1994. My mother took the Mini, a 74 model with squeaky brakes, balding tires, and 120,000 miles on the odometer. Our good car, a 15-year-old Falcon station wagon, was out of action. The lights had been left on overnight, the battery was dead, and there was no spare cash to replace it. Dad was on an out-of-town shift and didn't like to leave Mum without a car, so he'd cycle to the station on his dodgy old bike. I left for school just before 8:30. I was running late. I was always running late, and was glad to escape the noise and the mess and my mother's irritability. Amy was crying. Amy was always crying. She needed feeding. She always needed feeding. And my mother's goodbye had been perfunctory, as her interactions always were since Amy had arrived. A distracted wave. See you later. Have a nice day. According to the initial police report, Bev Ryan, who lived across the road, was walking into town for a cut and colour at 9:30 and had passed by just in time to see Mum close the front door, carry the car seat to the rear of the little pale blue car and clip it in. Bev had said hello, peered at the sleeping baby through the window, what a sweet little thing, all that gorgeous hair, and walked on. Lionel Perkins, who had the garage on the corner, had seen her drive past not long after. He'd admired her profile. She was still a looker, despite the 2 kids, as well as her smooth gear change. You could always tell a farm girl. She'd waved to Val Darrow, who was sweeping the pavement outside Martin's news agency. Val had seen the greeting but ignored it, for reasons that even she couldn't fathom. Ray Yee, stacking apples at the front of Yee's old fruit shop, had seen her turn left onto the main road, heading towards the highway. He'd waved, but too late for her to wave back. She stopped at the BP on the outskirts of town, where Mervyn Ebsworth filled the tank for her. He'd offered to check the oil, the tires, but she'd already checked them herself. Mervyn, a shy man, especially when it came to women, hadn't said much, but he'd noticed the baby, still rosily asleep in her capsule, and told her that he and his wife had just had their 4th, about the same age, a boy, Timothy. She'd asked him to pass on her regards to Shirley. She'd passed Errol Simmons and his wife, Wendy, on the highway. They were coming in from Haringey to take Wendy's mother to the hospital. It was the 4th emergency trip they'd made in the last 2 months. The other 3 had turned out to be indigestion, but better safe than sorry. Errol recognized the Mini immediately. He'd sold it to my father 5 years before for a bit too much. It had been his kid's runaround, was well past its use-by date, and had always felt vaguely guilty about it. Phil Coombs, local stock and station agent, had been heading to town on the back road from Dalhunty. He'd seen Mum waiting at the intersection when he'd turned back onto the highway. He'd flashed his lights, grinned. He'd known her since they were kids, had worked as a jackaroo for her old man, but she hadn't returned his smile, just lifted 2 fingers off the steering wheel in acknowledgement. He'd watched in his rearview mirror as she put the little car into gear and turned left onto Oxley Road. She was heading east, following the path of the river back towards its source. How was Phil to know that he would be the last person to see her that day? That he would be the last person to see her at all before she became a headline? There had been no signs, no portents, or none that any of us had seen, at least. Not even me. Not even in retrospect.
Chapter 1. A Little Bird. The community New Year celebrations were a great success, with hundreds of happy Arthurvillians attending the big barbecue and stalls held at the showground yesterday.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?